All right, Year 10. This is our first lesson on our new topic, and it's all about measurement. Okay, so I've got this little person here. What's measurement? It might be to do with time, weight, temperature, length, height. Okay, there's plenty and plenty of things for this topic. So today we're just going to look at converting units of measurement, maybe centimetres to metres, kilograms to grams, or millilitres to megalitres. All right, we're just going to convert units of measurement. All right, let's start with length. When I'm looking at converting, I use one of these jumpies all the time. So we're going to talk about maybe converting millimetres to centimetres to metres to kilometres. All right, so what do? I use one of these conversion diagrams, I guess. And I know if I'm turning millimetres into centimetres, I've got to divide by 10. Centimetres to metres, divide by 100. And metres to kilometres, divide by 1,000. Okay. If I'm going backwards, maybe kilometres to metres. Or centimetres to millimetres. I'm going to do the opposite to what I did above. I'm timesing. So here, times by 100. And kilometres to metres, times by 1,000. Okay, now this needs to be completed on your guided notes. This example is also on your guided notes. All right, and this is how I use the jumpy diagram. So I've got 170 centimetres. So I'm going to put that here, 170 centimetres. I'm just going to think it's there. I'll put my pen there. And I've got to turn it into metres. Okay. So what does it say to do? It says take 170 and divide it by 100. So I'll take 170, divide it by 100, 1.7. So 170 centimetres must be 1.7 metres. I'll try another one. This time it says take 170 centimetres, turn it to millimetres. Centimetres. To turn it into millimetres, I have to follow the arrow. This one says times by 10. So I'm going to go that way this time. So I'm going to have 170 times by 10, 1,700. So 170 centimetres, 1,700 millimetres. All right. Last example on just length. I've got 170 centimetres again. And this time I'm going to turn them into kilometres. I'm going to go this and then this. Okay, watch my arrow. Double jump. If it's a double jump, I've got to do both things. I've got 170 divided by 100 divided by 1,000. When I do that, I get 0.0017, and that's my answer. Okay, so you should be able to complete your guided notes from watching this video. So that's length, all right? If we look at area, remember area is always measured in squares, isn't it? Square millimetres, square centimetres, square metres, sometimes square kilometres. All right, we've always got the square. But we do the same thing, but this time we put a square. We do it. So if I'm going millimetres squared to centimetres squared, I'm dividing by 10 again, but 10 squared. Centimetres to metres squared, dividing by 100 again, but squared. Metres squared to kilometres squared, dividing by 1,000 squared. And the same on the way back. Okay. So when you see the squared, you just put the square there. Okay, or you can do it twice. It's up to you. So here are the examples. I'll start with this 40,000 centimetres squared. So I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to turn it into square metres. So it says take 40,000 divided by 100 to the power of 2. Okay. So I end up with the answer of 4. Next one, I'm going to turn it into millimetres squared. So this time it says take 40,000 times by 10 squared. Okay, follow the arrow, do what it says. 40,000 times 10 squared is 4 million. All right, we get really big and really small answers here as well. Last example. Oh, beat me. 40,000 centimetres squared into kilometres squared. So take 40,000, divide it by 100 squared, divided by 1,000 squared. Okay, and you get that tiny, tiny number. Now your calculator might be putting this in scientific notation. You'll just have to wait till I come back to learn how to use that. All right, that's area. Next is volume. volume's the same. Volume's how much space. Volume is cubics. Centimetres cubed, metre cubes. So 10 power of 3. 100 power of 3. 1,000 power of 3. So length, area and volume, they're all the same pictures, but length has nothing. Area, which is squared, has a 2, and volume, which is cubed, has the 3. Same on the bottom. All right, here are our examples. 800 square centimetres, right here, turn it into metres, that way. Divide it by 100 to the power of 3. This is going to give me a tiny number on my calculator. There we go. If I'm going to turn them into millimetres cubed, it says times by 10 to the power of 3. So if I'm going that way, times by 10 to the power of 3, 800,000. And the last one, I want to turn it into kilometres cubed. I feel like this is going to be tiny. I'm going to take 800, divide it by 100 cubed, divide it by 1,000 cubed. So double jump. And it gives me 8 times 10 to the negative 13 on my calculator, which looks like that. There are 12 zeros before I get to that 8. Tiny. Okay. All right, so that is for length, area and volume. Now we'll do a generic one. We could talk about millimetres, or I've put a grams here, milligrams, grams, kilograms, megagrams. All right, and there are a lot more different terms. We could have micrograms, we could have gigagrams if we wanted. This jumpy works for all units. Okay, so for my first example here, I like this jumpy because look, everything is the same. This is the metric system. The metric system is so lovely. Everything's 1,000. And even for length, everything would be 1,000, but we've got centimetres. They cause the problem. All right, so I've got 670 kilograms, and I've got to turn them into grams. All right, kilograms. So I've got 670 of them. I've got to turn them into just plain grams. I'm going to times by 1,000. Okay, 670 times by 1,000. Next one, I'm going to get rid of grams. All right, and we're talking litres. So in here, I'm going to write litres. Oh, it didn't work. There it is, litres. And we're going to take 1.8 megalitres way up here and turn them into litres. Times by 1,000, times by 1,000. Double jump. And we get 1,800,000 litres. All right, no wonder we say megalitres and not 1,800,000 litres. I'm going to change it now to something called bytes. Here we go, bytes. Something to do with computers, I think, aren't they? How much memory space. So bytes I'm going to put here. Okay, there it is, bytes. This time I've got 5,400 bytes and I'm turning them into kilobytes. The question says turn into kilobytes. So we're going to put 5,400 bytes divided by 1,000. Do the jump. 5.4 kilobytes. Okay, we can use this metric system on so many things. What about power? Watts. Okay, that's what power is measured in, how many watts you use. I've got 56 watts and I want to turn them into kilowatts. Divide by 1,000 again. There we go. Divide by 1,000, 0.56 kilowatts. You can even use it on time. So I'm talking seconds here. Put seconds in the spot. And we're going to turn seconds into milliseconds. 7,500 seconds times by 100. Turns them into milliseconds. And we've got 7,500,000 milliseconds. Okay, so this can be used, this metric one can be used for all units. And then we've got time. Now you know time, so I'm going to do this so quickly. You know, to turn seconds into minutes, you've got to divide by 60 and divide by 60 to turn them into hours, and 24 to turn them into days. You know this. You've been doing that since probably year 2. So 5 hours into seconds. 5 hours, double jump to seconds. 5 times 60 times 60, 1800 seconds. 1720 minutes. Couldn't quite fit it in, so I've squashed it there. 2 hours divided by 60 once. Okay, and I get 28 hours, 28.67 hours. When I press my bubble button on the calculator, and I'll show you that when I'm back, it tells me it's 28 hours, 40 minutes. All right, that's the end of this video. It's time for you to work through the questions on exercise 2A. See how you go. You can draw a heap of these conversion charts if you want to, conversion diagrams. It's up to you. Have fun.